Megaera is the 5th boss in the Throne of Thunder. The encounter involves killing the different heads of the boss. Killing a head will deal a certain amount of damage to the boss. It will take about 7 heads to finish the encounter, and the heads don't share health, and killing one head heals the others to full. The boss has 3 kinds of heads: the flaming, frozen, and venomous head. I believe the frozen and the venomous heads are the ones that start. The heads will be near the platform at first, but when you kill one of the heads, then one of the same heads will spawn away from the raid and cannot be damaged, but they will be doing damage to the raid. Once one head is killed, the other head will go underwater, then resurface with a different kind of head than there was before. So first, the abilities of the heads that are targetable and close to the raid. So when one head dies, the other head gains Hydra Frenzy. This increases the attack speed of the head by 20% per stack. This can be removed through killing the head. The Elemental Blood of Megaera will be applied when a new head spawns. This increases magic damage done by all heads of that type by 10% per stack. This lasts until the end of the fight. After killing a head, the head will use Rampage, which causes raid-wide damage every second. The damage done is increased by 25% for each head of that type that is in the cave. At that point, the heads don't really need to be tanked. People should pop cooldowns to help deal with this. Once Rampage is over, the heads will need to be tanked, so stack up during Rampage to make healing easier. Also, killing a head will increase damage from that type of head. Each of the heads actually has a breath cone attack that they will use. The venomous head has Rot Armor, which deals nature damage and stacks a debuff that makes the target take 10% increased damage per stack. The frozen head uses Arctic Freeze, which deals frost damage and stacks a debuff that freezes the player at 5 stacks for 20 seconds. The flaming head uses Ignite Flesh, which deals fire damage and stacks a dot on players lasting 45 seconds. Now let's go over the abilities that will be used from the heads away from the raid. Note that the more heads away from the raid, the more targets there will be for each ability. The frozen head will use Torrent of Ice at a random raider. This is a beam that follows a raider for 8 seconds, which leaves behind void zones called Icy Ground. The zones will deal damage and slow anyone in them. If you are targeted, kite the beam around away from the raid. These beams are definitely the most annoying of the abilities. The flaming heads will use Cinders. This is a debuff put on a random raider. It will deal damage and imply a dot. Move to a safe location away from the raid so you can be dispelled. When dispelled, a fiery void zone will be left at the target's feet. The venomous head will use Acid Rain. This shoots a ball of acid at a random raider. When it lands, it deals damage to all raiders, but less is done the further away from impact someone is. Note that you don't need to run to Narnia to survive, just get a little bit away from it. The abilities have an important interaction though. If someone with Cinders runs onto the Icy Ground void zone, it will disappear. And on the flip side, the Torrent of Ice Beam can be taken through a fiery void zone to make it disappear. So if you have set abilities, use them to make zones disappear. So tanks. One tank will need to be on each head. Tank the heads facing away from the raid. Normally the tanks need to switch heads once they get to about 2 stacks of the debuff, but you can also switch whenever a head is killed. This means one tank can't keep tanking the same head. When one dies, if you were tanking the frozen one, move to the next one, and the other tank will take over the first one. Basically, you're almost keeping in position with each other and then just shifting left and then shifting right and shifting left and shifting right. Healers, you'll have a lot going on this fight, which is the same with pretty much every fight. The big problem is Rampage though. Everyone will be taking a lot of damage. On top of that, the heads away from the raid will start using abilities, so people will be moving around all over the place. The DVS just need to remember to rotate between the 2 heads because of Hydra Frenzy. This means attacking the Venom head, then the Fire head. You can pretty much ignore the Frozen one unless the raid is just going to get wrecked by it. Everyone needs to remember to move away from Acid Rain. Move away and clear void zones if you have Cinder, and kite the Torrent of Ice away from the raid. Stack up during Rampage and pop cooldowns, and don't stand in front of the heads unless you're a tank. I'd save Lust until near the end of the fight, where the raid will be taking a lot of damage. That's all you need to know to kill the Watcher from outside Moria. Good luck, Adventurer.